Are you ready for a new world order? Let's start right here.
And the title of this session, are we ready for a new world order?
Now, when was that done? What year? 2022 at the World Government Summit. Okay. Now, in 2023, the Trilateral Commission declares 2023 is year one of this new global order. Year one. I don't know if it's a 2-year sequence or 7 years, but year one. Year one. And based on God's order, it's 6 days and 1. That's 7. 2023 plus 7 gives you what? 2030. The Trilateral Commission houses the most influential people in the whole world. Politics, financiers, art, entertainment, all of it. Year one. What underpins this new world government, new world order?
And it's not about the U.S. versus China. It's about what underpins a world order is always the financial system. I was very privileged. My father was an advisor to Nixon when they came off the gold standard in '71. And so I was brought up with a kind of inside view of how very important the financial structure is to absolutely everything else. And what we're seeing in the world today, I think, is we are on the brink of a dramatic change where we are about to, and I'll say this boldly, we're about to abandon the traditional system of money and accounting and introduce a new one. And the new one, the new accounting, is what we call blockchain. It means digital. It means having a almost perfect record of every single transaction that happens in the economy, which will give us far greater clarity over what's going on. It also raises huge dangers in terms of the balance of power between states and citizens. In my opinion, we're going to need a digital constitution of human rights if we're going to have digital money.
Watch this. This is April 21st, 2023. When was that? Yesterday. This is a meeting of two prominent, powerful institutions. IMF, that's International Monetary Fund, and the World Bank. Watch this. Speakers at a seminar during the recent spring meetings of Bretton Woods, right? IMF, World Bank shared thoughts on how nations can advance their economic and what? Digital transformation ambitions by building inclusive, watch this, don't forget this, it's called digital public infrastructure. Don't forget that term. They stress the importance of what now? A digital ID, yes, the systems, as well as other factors such as internet, which can enhance digital connectivity. Watch this. This man was there at this IMF meeting. He's from India, I believe. He will give you what he calls the Jam Trinity. The whole new world order, new world, is built on 3 technological systems. Number 1, a digital ID. Number 2, where's my cell phone? A cell phone. And number 3 is going to be Cbdc. Watch this. Listen attentively.
See, I think if you think what are the tools of the new world, everybody should have a digital ID, everybody should have a bank account, everybody should have a smartphone.
Okay.
Then anything can be done. Everything else is built on that.
Because we were talking about this before we came onto the panel, the 3 basic things: a smartphone, a bank account, and a digital ID.
Yes.
That's where every nation...
In India, it's been named by the Prime Minister the Jam Trinity. Jandan, which is the bank account, Aadhaar, the ID, and mobile.
That shouldn't cost that much.
Oh, nothing.
Did you catch his Jam Trinity? What's the first one? J. Bank account, which is Cbdc. It's all digital. What's number 2? The Aadhaar, which is the digital ID. Number 3. cell phone, Wi-Fi. Watch this, friends. Listen again. I'm going to break them down. Watch, listen.
Named by the Prime Minister the Jam Trinity. Jandan, which is the bank account, Aadhaar, the ID, and mobile.
That shouldn't cost that much.
Nothing.
And everything is built on what? The whole structure. Listen.
See, I think if you think what are the tools of the new world, everybody should have a digital ID, everybody should have a bank account, everybody should have a smartphone.
How about people, especially the older folks, down on my volume, please. The older folks who were somewhat, they were comfortable with life without a cell phone. Kindly, I said that. But because of the system and the world we're living in, they had to move away from their not so smart cell phones to what? A smartphone, or else they would be cut off from society, the new world order. And it sounds good. We all need a cell phone. We all need digital IDs. We all need, now what? Cbdc. Everything is built on these three systems. Watch this. What now? Watch this.
Named by the Prime Minister the Jam Trinity. Jandan. Named by the Prime Minister the Jam Trinity. Jandan, which is the bank account, Aadhaar, the ID, and mobile.
That shouldn't cost that much.
Nothing.
Let's focus on number 2 first. India, watch this. This is from the LA Times. Because many times they say, oh, you receive that article, Pastor Henriquez, from alternative media. That's LA Times. Watch this. Headline. India is building a what? Biometric database for 1.3 billion people, and enrollment is mandatory. What now? Optional? You mean a choice in the matter? Watch this. This lady here, far left, Vimal Gowde, had come to secure her ticket to India's what? Digital future. To enroll in the identity program called what? Aadhaar, or foundation that aims to record the fingerprints and irises of all 1.3 billion Indian residents. Nearly 9 out of 10 Indians have registered. How many so far? In 2017, 9 out of 10 Indians have registered. Each assigned a unique 12-digit number that serves as what? A digital ID that can be verified with a scan of a thumb or an eye. Now pause right there. I went to the bank recently. I was speaking to the teller to have something notarized. And a man walked in from outside, walked right into the bank and said, hi everybody, whoever. And he walked right to the safety deposit area. And the man went like this to a sign on the wall, a little gadget, screen, iris scan. Ping, 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 ping. And the door opened and he walked in. And I thought, if I have to do that, to have a safety deposit box, mattress, are you ready? Not me, my friends. Not me. My eyes are virgin. Not my eyes. Listen, red words. If she didn't get a number, she worried that she would what? Be able to eat. Stop right there. Stop right there. Let's go back to those 3 things now.
Named by the Prime Minister the Jam Trinity. Jandan, which is the bank account, Aadhaar, the ID, and mobile.
That shouldn't cost that much.
Nothing.
So what's going to happen if you don't have their type of bank accounts? It's there. You can't eat. You can't buy. You cannot make transactions. What if you don't have their digital ID? You cannot make transactions. Now, When they roll out the CBDC, am I saying don't participate in the CBDC? You may have to, but you know where it's tending. When the IDs roll out, I don't know, when they roll out, if it's not raping my eyes, I may have to get one. But I know where it's tending. And when that day comes, you'll have to do what? Forgo those things. Likewise with your what? Your cell phone. Your cell phone. They all are in the same category. Cell phone, your IDs, as well as the banking system. All in the same. They form the foundation for the New World Order. And that's what I'm telling you. Cell phones, in the country, you may have to forego cell phones one day. Mark my words. Indians now need an Aadhaar number to pay what? Taxes. Now, what if you don't pay your taxes on your property? Collect pensions and obtain certain what? Welfare benefits. Paupers to the government. Supporters say the program, which has cost about $1 billion to implement, will save multiples of that by curbing tax evasion and ensuring that welfare subsidies are not stolen by the middleman. This month, lawyers opposing Aadhaar argued before the Supreme Court that the government could not force Indians to share their what? Their biometric data to get a biometric ID. Digital. Watch this. But the Attorney General countered, saying what? Indians have no constitutional right to privacy and could not claim an absolute right over their own bodies. That's your New World Order. Digital ID, you're seeing it right there, India. Cell phones, CBDC banking. You're seeing it right in front of our very eyes. Now, they normally do beta testing in these countries. I mean, what's going on here? They normally do beta testing in these countries. And then they roll it out in the developed nations. They begin where? In the developing nations. Middle East, Asia, down under, and then they come to the West. Can we see what's coming? If they can control 1.3 billion people, what is 325 million? Talk to me. Watch this. All right. What were we told represent a corral, a final shutting of the gate? CBDCs, digital ID, as well as the Pestilence 19 prick card. Watch this.
And the reality, as the financial system gets more controlling and more invasive, it's a little bit like bringing up a corral around us. And CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, and vaccine passports or digital IDs are sort of the last shutting of the gate. It's hard for many people to imagine the risks here because we're so used to living with financial transaction freedom, and we don't understand that when this gate closes on us, we literally will be sitting in a system where the central banks believe that our assets belong to them, and they can dictate where we can spend money and what we can spend money on.
Not only our assets belong to them, but our bodies belong to them. Our minds, our consciences belong to them. New World what? Order. We are being surrounded, friends. Watch this carefully. This is now America. That was India. Now let's come to America. This is, what's my date? Where's my date here? This bill, March 21st, 2023, this senator, Improving Digital ID Act of 2023. Watch this. Watch this, friends. This bill proceeds to the Senate April 11th. The bill calls for an interagency task force to head a combined public-private collaboration, which will help all citizens more easily and securely engage in what? Transactions online and prove who they are online. So what's the purpose for this digital ID? So they know who you are. Why would the government need to know who everybody is? Monitoring and control. Watch this, friends. It says, this same system is increasing all around the world. The European Parliament confirmed last month, that's March, with a majority 418 votes to 103 votes to implement an EU digital ID. You can't hide. You can't hide. Now, do you know what I saw here? The counterfeit judgment. Are we living in a time of the investigative judgment? Does Jesus know where all of us are? Does he know what we're doing every moment of the day? Is there a strict record being taken in heaven? Every thought, every word, every action. Amen? Just as we see that is happening in heaven, and we know the judgment is almost over, people are going to receive either a good reward, heaven, or a bad reward, as it were, destruction. The government on earth is establishing something similar. Surveillance, monitoring. Those who go along with their agenda, they will now be able to receive a good social credit score. But those who dissent and reject, you are cut off from society. You become a pariah. You are no longer welcomed nor accommodated. You are cut off. Watch this. Melville said in his tweet that digital IDs are a giant con trick to manipulate people into surveillance, government control, and loss of freedoms and human dignity. Furthermore, technologies with such capabilities may generate additional concerns surrounding freedom, mobility, security, equality, access, autonomy, consent, and human dignity. Some of the most intrusive aspects of ID technologies include functionalities that allow governments and partnering agencies to track user behaviors across time and to develop complex profiles of their what? Identities. These behaviors are often then rewarded or punished by the governments like what? The social credit system used in the Panda Nation. Are we living on a tyranny right now, a new world order? When God made man, did God give man freedom? So what is the new world order then? A stripping away of your what? Your liberties. Listen.
Clearly, we are witnessing right now the Chinification of Europe.
Europe, right? And what happened in Europe? How many votes? 418 to 103. To get what? A digital ID. And without it in India, people couldn't eat. They couldn't transact. They couldn't bank. No pension, no welfare. Cut off. 418 votes to 103. Listen to this.
Clearly, we are witnessing right now the Chinification of Europe, because we see what is happening in China right now with the social credit score, where the government is monitoring and surveilling all the people from the beginning to end. everything that they do, everything, everywhere where they walk. They control everything and they watch everything. This is the example of a tyranny. When the government knows everything about you, where you go, what you eat, where you enter, that's the tyrannical system. And we've seen this system being implemented right now under the leadership of Ursula von der Leyen, slowly but surely in the European Union. The green certificate was just the first step. There are a few more proposals right now under debate in the parliament. The European wallet ID, for example, the European social security card. All these things that are creating a system that will monitor, control, supervise, and condition the rights of all the European citizens. Just yesterday, before yesterday actually, on Monday, in the plenary, we had the Commissioner for Work. And he said, well, we need the European Social Security card number, pass, as he called it.
Listen.
Torres warns that the EU's new digital ID is the next step in a process in which the government in Brussels will micromanage every aspect of people's lives.
This is what makes the difference between a tyranny and democracy. When you know everything about what your government does, that's democracy. When the government knows everything about you, that is tyranny.
Damn.
Watch this, friends. And who said that the Panda Nation is the role model for all the other nations? Who said that? Klaus Schwab. The Panda, whatever's happening in China, he's saying, is the role model. Watch this, friends. Watch carefully.
I respect China's achievements, which are tremendous over the last over 40 years. I think it's a role model for many countries.
A what?
But I think...
Okay. And who said that China is actually the best implementer of the Roman Catholic common good? Who said that? Catholic leaders. There it is, friends. China. The best implementer of the Roman Catholic common good. Exactly what we're seeing here, friends. These are Catholics saying this, bishops saying this, cardinals saying this. So we know what's happening. Watch what the WEF leader said. It seems as if he's playing wrestling. WEF. Listen. Oh, y'all missed that? Oh, you got it? All right.
Let's also be clear. The future is not just happening. The future is built by us.
And what are they building? What are they? Make everything digital so we can monitor and control. The Pope said the very same thing. We must prepare the future, not prepare for the future. That's what you're seeing here, friends. Headline, both groups on the same bandwagon, WEF and the Vatican. And what is the Pope calling for? A new economic order. That's it. All connected now. New economic or new world order. Because what underpins the new world order? The economy. The love of money is what? The root of how much evil? This is the World Economic Forum. Headline, the identity in a what? Digital world. This digital identity determines what products, services, and information we can access, or conversely, what is closed off to us. We just saw that we're, what nation? Let me see if you were sleeping on me. What nation? India. Without the Aadhaar, you cannot buy or sell, transact, no pension, no paycheck, none of it. You can't eat. And the World Economic Forum is telling us the same thing. Every earthly support will be cut off. Now, it doesn't mean you have a cell phone. It doesn't mean you ditch your cell phone right now. Don't bring upon yourself a time of trouble beforehand. But understand what's coming and begin to make preparations. See their new world order system. Now watch this, friends. Now, you have fine print here. I'm going to read this for you. This is the World Economic Forum. What did they just say a while ago? If you don't have this new ID, you will be closed off from the world. Closed off from what? Watch this. I was saying to Elder Buchanan in the back a few moments ago, this is the nail in their coffin. Without this ID, a time is going to come, healthcare. You have 10 areas right here, 10 arenas, 10 systems. Number one, healthcare. For users to access insurance, treatment, to monitor health devices, wearables. For care providers to demonstrate their qualifications. Without a digital ID, you won't be able to access healthcare. What does that say to us now? Number two, financial services. To open bank accounts, to carry out online and financial transactions. Notice, didn't say go into a brick and mortar building. No, online. Cbdc. If you don't have their ID, you cannot access your bank account. Is that serious? They're telling us this. Number three, food and sustainability. For farmers and consumers to verify provenance of produce, to enhance value and traceability in supply chains. Long story cut short. If you don't have their ID, no food. No food. Number four, travel and mobility. It says to book trips, to go through border control between countries or regions. If you don't have the New World Order's digital ID, you cannot travel. So those of you in Canada, praise God, I'm coming to you right now. You can't cross the border. When did we see something very similar? When? Thank you. The pestilence 19 pandemic. We couldn't cross borders without what? Without an inoculation vax card, right? Couldn't cross. Everything is going to be in one ID. All right. Next, number five, humanitarian, what? To access services to demonstrate qualifications to work in a foreign country. Missionaries, affected. How many of you recall when they had the massive earthquake in one of those islands in the Caribbean? And the mayor down there, or the governor down there said, we are going to come in and assist those who went through this crisis, this catastrophe. But you need to make sure you received the jab. No jab, no help. Do you remember those folks? What country was that? St. Vincent, I believe. Do you remember those folks who were stuck on the ship, the cruise ship? Oh, you have forgotten that? The cruise ship. Remember that? And the people could not receive service. Hold on. They were moving the cruise ship to different islands. And the various islands would not accept those who were on board in their country unless they had what? The prick. It's coming. Unless you have this, without this, no humanitarian services. So hold on. What if a tornado comes to your town? and take away your home, what happens? Imagine them saying, where is your digital ID? Without it, we cannot give you any humanitarian. You will not be a beneficiary of any of our sustenance. What would you do? Number 6, e-commerce. To shop, to conduct business, transactions, and secure payments. No more Amazon for you. No more eBay. No more eBays. From the business side of it, as an owner, a seller, and the buyer, the consumer. Without this ID, you cannot buy and sell. Is that not the B system? Okay, social platforms for social interactions, all right, to access third-party services that rely on what? Social media logins. Logins, your credentials. What is that? Username and password. Without this ID, you won't have Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, WhatsApp, website, third party website, none of it. Cut off, email, cut off. Imagine that. As a business and as the consumer, cut off, okay? How many of you use these apps and softwares? Cut off. Adobe, Premiere, Adobe, cut off. Listen, Spotify, Apple Music, cut off. All right, listen. E-government, next. For citizens to access and use services, file taxes, vote, and what? Collect benefits. Now take out vote out of this. It says what now? File taxes. Do you want to see your face on CBS News, Channel 9? Behind bars? File taxes. What would be your excuse? I did not file because I refused the ID? What happens to those who don't file their taxes? Telecommunications. What benefits? I'm retired now. Social security benefits? None of it without the ID. They're telling us the tentacles. I smell something fishy. The new world order. It stinks. Next one is telecommunications. For users to own and use devices. For service providers to monitor devices and data on the network to use and own. Well, I thought they said it's 2030. You own nothing. You're happy. A day's going to come, no cell phones. None. No cell phones. Cut off. Imagine that day. Number 11. Number 9. Smart cities. Smart what? To monitor devices and sensors transmitting data such as energy usage, air quality, traffic congestion. Smart cities. Without the ID, you can't enter. No entry. Stop no further. Imagine that day. That means if you live somewhere in the country, you can't come into the city. Forget about it. Without this ID here. Number 12. That's it. That was number 9 or number 10. So that was number 10, right? Yes. It's all there, friends. It's all there. Watch this as we move on. Now, I'm going to come back and close on this point. You got the point. no lesson needs to be everlasting to be eternal. Amen? Watch this. So we began with the IMF, right? IMF to launch what is called digital public infrastructure. These 3 items here, plus more, but these main 3. It's all linked there. And this is the IMF and World Bank, right? Watch this right here. Do you see that? April 8th, Pope Francis calls for global COVID-19 recovery plan in message to whom? World Bank and IMF. You can't make this up, friends. Right? And it's all about the economy. This is the beast system, the tentacles of Mother Beast. Watch this now. It's the same IMF. In their spring meeting 2023, they called for the launching of what now? An international CBDC. Not a US CBDC, that's national, but international CBDC. I covered this for Midday Power Surge. Their CBDC for the whole world is called what? Unicoin. 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 Now watch this. Without your Unicoin, you can't buy or sell. You can't trade. You receive nothing. Listen to this. IMF, IMF guy, IMF.
See, I think if you think what are the tools of the new world, everybody should have a digital ID, everybody should have a bank account, everybody should have a smartphone.
Okay.
Then anything can be done. Everything else is built on that.
Everything else is built on that. Unicoin, watch this, my friends. It says Unicoin is the new global currency. It's CBDC, same thing. CBDC, Unicoin. Watch this now. Of course, in order for such a system to have real teeth, cash and other forms of payment would need to be what? Phased out. Phased out. Crash the economy. And notice now, friends, it says to restrict transactions in cash, crypto assets, right? They want to cap payments that can be accepted by persons providing goods or services. And that is the limit right here. Imagine that, friends. Why? The government needs to now know who is transacting as you go above a particular threshold. And what they should do is keep on lowering that threshold until it's 0. Every transaction has to come through the government. That's tyranny, my friends. In closing, I told you, in closing, the Jewish nation had a unicoin. Had a what? Unicoin. This unicoin, every single transaction globally will be done in this currency. Unicoin. Unicoin. Every single transaction. Unicoin. Okay? It says Unicoin is an international central bank what? CBDC. That has been designed to work in conjunction with all existing national currencies. Just as they now have their Unicoin,